there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm participating in the telephone game YouTube Hop. This is our second time doing this, and it is something that a bunch of us over at the Secret Not Secret Kit Club are doing. And this is the original layout that I got from Crystal Barrett over at Pineapple Papers. So yesterday she posted her process video, and I'm posting mine today. And tomorrow Christy over at Christy's Beautiful Life will post hers. And there were actually a couple people that started the layouts before Crystal, and they're all going to be in a list down below in my description box. So go check out what they started with. And we didn't get to see the original layout that started. We only got to see the person who was doing their layout before us. So I only saw Crystal's layout, which I just showed you, and then Christy has only seen my layout. And so this is kind of like that telephone game that you played when you were a kid, where you whisper in someone's ear and they whisper to the next person, and you see what they came up with at the very end. So in my layout, I have decided to go ahead and use a paper as a border there. Just like Crystal had, she had polka dots. I'm using stripes. I'm using a single photo in the center, just like she did. Her photo was of a baby, and my photo is of a baby as well. And then she had a whole bunch of vertical pieces of paper or washi tape layers on the left hand side, and I'm going to do that same thing. I am primarily using branding strips. There are a few border strips as well, and I'm using pretty much all Chamel stuff except for that diagonal stripe as the background. That is from Jen Hadfield and her Chasing Adventures line. I bought a whole bunch of that paper because I really like it. Anyway, so Crystal also used a bunch of Chamel papers. I don't know if they were all exclusively Chamel or if she mixed in some stuff, but I did see several different ones of Chamel's paper line, or different paper lines, and I'm mixing and matching a whole bunch of the different paper lines that she does. And I'm also bringing in some creams and some whites so that I have a mix of both. And then this paper that I'm using right here, I originally was going to have the pink and orange at the bottom, and then I decided to pop it over to the right hand side because I want to use this 3x4 card that says "I'm sorry for what I said when I was hungry." And I just liked the way that the colors in that pink and the red on the around the photo made the 3x4 card pop up. So now I am just going to go ahead and layer up these branding strips, and I don't want them perfectly straight. I want them a little bit tilted or off kilter in varying directions because I want them to look like they just kind of landed there as a big pile. I don't want them lined up perfectly straight because I think I wouldn't be able to get them perfectly straight anyway, so embrace that they're not going to be straight to begin with. You see the one with the 4 colors that I'm working with right there. That is the same one that is behind the photo that I'm placing the orange and the red over to the right hand side. And so I like that it balances that orange and red on the left. And then I am going to have that journaling card on the right hand side of my photo, which Crystal did not have in her photo. She had a title up, I believe it was up above. Yep, it's up above. You can see her layout in the upper right hand corner of my screen. And I didn't do my title up above. I did it to the right, and it's just that 3x4 card. But I did put some embellishments up above and in the lower right hand side of the photograph, just so that it would mirror what she did. And I don't know if I might have more branding strips on my page than she did. She had some pages or some strips that were wider than mine, and that would have worked out as well too, but I didn't have a lot of wider strips that I wanted to use, and I wanted to use up these branding strips. Sorry, I must have bumped my camera there and everything's a little bit shaky. And then I wanted to go ahead and put this black down because the black really makes everything pop. And since those branding strips are layered up, it's making everything lift a little bit higher off the page. So I just used some really thin foam behind my photo so that my photo is nice and flat. It's not tilted, you know, it's all level across the page. And then these little pieces, I think they're from Sparkle City. Oh gosh, that foam tape that I used is really stuck down good. And it's a thin one that I got from a friend, and it has loads of adhesive on it. So once you put it down, it's difficult to get back up. So luckily I was able to get that back up. So this is a picture of my grandson, and he was eating or about to eat and not very happy, and he's kind of crying in the picture or whining. So I just thought that that 3x4 card that says "I'm sorry for what I said when I was hungry" was perfect, and so that was what I wanted to use. And then I decided to use these oranges on the page, and those are from Box of Crayons, and I really like the shaker, the little shaker one. And then that camera, I believe that is from Go Now Go, but it's got the same orange and teals in it. And I really just love how all of these collections, you can mix and match pieces of them, and it works out really well. I was going to try and get that green camera on there. I don't end up using it. So I'm going to pull some of the epoxy out of those buttons to the right hand side and use some of those instead. And then I did add a little bit of dimensional foam underneath the oranges that are stuck on top of the photo because there are so many layers behind that photo. The orange had to have some dimension to the bottom of it so that it would rest flat again. So go down to my description box and check out the other ladies that are participating. I think we have 8 people on our team. Once I finish my layout, it goes to Christy over at Christy's Beautiful Life, and I'm really curious to see what she does with it. I'm also really curious to see what the very first layout looks like and the very last layout looks like, just to see how things were changed up and what people were inspired by from the person before them. So it's always an interesting thing to see the series of layouts and how they've changed and how they've actually stayed the same. So it's really fun. So check them out. And then there are several other groups that are doing this. So I think if you just searched on YouTube for the telephone hop, you might be able to find them that way. And we also did this in, I want to say, July or August, and so you can go check those out as well. So I'm adding some hearts. I added those hearts, I think, are from Box of Crayons, and then I added a soda pop can to the end of that little banner flag that's sticking out there, and that is from Sparkle City. And I am popping all of those up onto foam tape to give a little bit of a dimension. I do like to have some dimension in my books. I don't like it super thick, but I don't like it super thin either. And then I'm adding these little circle stickers behind just to pop things out too, and to give a little bit more interest behind the hearts and make them a little bit more noticeable. And I am using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive for most of these things. I really like this glue. It comes out of the bottle really fine, and it holds things really well, and it dries relatively quickly. And here I'm just popping out the epoxy from the epoxy buttons. Those are a little bit too thick for my liking in my book. I've used them on some pages, but since I went to the Secret Not Secret Kit Club retreat, I learned there that you can pop them out without really messing them up. And so I've been using them a lot more since then, which makes me super happy to get them on my pages and out of my stash. So, and then those are also probably a mix from Glitter Girl and maybe from Little by Little, I think. I don't have them for every collection, but I do have them for a couple of the collections. And I'm using some of the smaller ones and some of the larger ones. And I'm just popping that. There's a little tiny teacup there. I popped above that little banner flag onto that 3x4 card. I thought anything that was kind of related to food worked really well for this layout. And then in just a few moments, I'm going to use a little bit of mist on my page, and I'm using, I think it's a Kaisercraft one in charcoal color, and maybe a Mr. Huey's in a silvery white color. And that's pretty much going to do it for my layout. So stick around for the close-ups. They're going to be coming up pretty soon. And don't forget to go check out the other ladies and leave everybody a little love if you're finding this enjoyable, and if you'd like to see us do it again. If you're not a subscriber, I'd love for you to subscribe. And if you are, thank you so much for your time and watching my videos. And I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you next time.